Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As you are aware, this is primarily a morning to recognize the brands which have proved themselves in education by way of innovation and success stories. I am probably here to warm you up for that real exciting brand recognition ceremony. I have been asked to speak on a topic which is very, very relevant, and that is on powering education, empowering the nation, building India as a knowledge superpower. Friends, as was being mentioned by our anchor here, education is going through a great transformation in the country at the moment. At least we have realized that we need a transformation. We need a change, and that is why in the new education policy we have so many changes listed for the day. Friends, I welcome the efforts of the organizers this morning to spot out the real innovative stories in the brands for the field of education, because that is where we really miss. In this country, we have had a culture of not talking about our success stories too much, and that's a wrong thing to do. We must promote success stories for others to follow, and therefore I'm very happy to be here this morning and share my views with you for the minutes I have at my disposal. Friends, the theme for this year's conference, this year's theme is Rethink, Reimagine and Re-strategize the Future Through Education. Well, I'm really not sure how much the word re really means in this context, because I really believe that we have to have this re very capital to start. Unless we do real changes, these cosmetic changes are not taking us anywhere. We will have to bring in some real changes into the education to make sure that we are able to achieve what we wish to achieve. I'll take a few points to prove to you or convince you what I'm trying to say. What we have done all over these years for the last 4 decades or 5 decades is to go on structuring education more and more, to go on building more and more rigidity about the education, be it school education, be it college education, university education, even up to doctor level of education. Everything we thought can be put into formulas, can be put into tangible parameters. CGPA became our measure of performance. Pay package became our measure of quality. And so many things like that. Even sometime how much is the weight of the bag of the school child became our parameter of quality, that we teach so many books. That became our parameter of quality. So somewhere down the line, we really missed what is really quality, what is really creativity, what is really innovation, and where are we going. I think time has come for us to ensure that we are able to come back to what we had. This country had probably one of the most free environment of education, where the entire thing was between the teacher A and the student X to decide what they wish to study, how they want to go about it. That was our system, which we called as Gurukul system. We had to change it because of the massification and things like that. I have invariably asked, when 5 Pandavas went to the same Guru Dronacharya, how did Guru Dronacharya decide that Arjun will be best to learn Dhanushban and Bhim will be best to learn Gada? There was no entrance test which decided this. There was no merit-based decision on this. It was a decision which was conversation between the two, between the experimental days between the two, which decided that, and that proved the excellence. Today we do not have that facility at any level, right from if you have 1.25 marks less, you cannot become an engineer, you cannot become doctor, you will have to become something else. Even if you go to engineering, we talk about aptitude, we talk about everything, but if you have 0.1 mark less, then you cannot become a computer science engineer, you will have to become a civil engineer. Now, if that is the kind of education to which we stick to for another 10, 20 years, I think the damage which we do to our youth will have to be appreciated at some stage in the country to come out of it. And we have seen the disastrous results. Powering education cannot be a brute force power. Powering education has to be a mental power. But these tangible formulas all the time. When the anchor was judiciously saying how did they select the brands, she was talking about parameters quite at times. I'm sure the parameters must have been taken into consideration. I am Chairman National Board of Accreditation. We also have parameters into consideration, but I still fail to understand how do we feel that a classroom of size 100 square meters is quality and 99 square meters is not quality. These are the kinds of parameters with which we go through and believe we are doing quality. We will have to really find out where is the quality, how to locate the spark in the student, and that is the duty of the teacher, empowerment of the teacher. I personally believe unless education is made autonomous in the real sense of the word, and when I say autonomous, at the first level universities have to be autonomous. I remember when President Kalam came from a tour from USA, some media persons asked him, what is your observation about Indian universities and the 4 universities you went through in this round of USA? As president of the country, whereby he is visitor of all central universities, he said our universities are not autonomous. That was the view of the president of the India. And autonomy means autonomy. We have to bring in autonomy to the universities. We have to then bring autonomy to the colleges. We have to bring autonomy to the schools. We have to bring autonomy to the teachers. I cannot imagine a teacher is given a dictate on a piece of paper that Monday 8 to 9 you must cover these 3 questions. Tuesday 8 to 9 you must cover next 2 questions, and this he or she is supposed to follow very meticulously, otherwise it is indiscipline, otherwise it is disobedience. If that be so, I can't imagine. Unless the teacher is empowered to take a decision, I don't think education can ever be really meaningful. Teacher must have some freedom. I remember my school days. I still remember our chemistry teacher came to the class. I was the topper of the class, and he said, you get up. Now, those good old days, if the teacher says to the student, you get up, it used to be a shock. I got up. He said, go outside the class and come after some time. I went out, and after half a minute I came in. He says, no, you again go out, have a round of the ground, and then come in. I came in. And then he says, now you tell the class how the environment inside the classroom is bad and how the environment outside is good. You explain that to the whole class in next 45 minutes, how the environment changes from a closed room to an outside. And that way, if you learn climate change, that way, if you learn the situation of pollution, that way if you learn the importance of free air, that is what makes the difference. Today I am very sure such a teacher will be thrown out of the job, saying that you passed time, you did not teach properly, you gave your job to a student, and so on and so forth. I think these are the basic questions to which we have to apply our mind. I'm reminded of a factual thing, not a story really. Wipro, you must have all heard, is one of the brands in computers. They conducted a survey from the best schools of Delhi and Bombay. Best schools of Delhi and Bombay, I'm not talking of village schools or something like that. And they administered a test. And one of the questions in the test was, write the chemical formula of steam. I don't know how many of you, but science up to class 10th, everybody has studied. Write the chemical formula of steam. And hardly any student could answer this question. They were disturbed. They called some 100 best students in a hall like this, and then they say, let us discuss this. Then they asked, what is the chemical formula of water? Everybody says H2O. What is this nonsense you are asking? Then they said, when water boils, what happens? Steam, sir. What a question. Says, is boiling a physical process or a chemical process? Sir, everybody knows it's a physical process. Then they asked, do the chemical properties change during a physical process? No, sir. Then the question is, if you know water is H2O, you know it. And you also know when it boils, it becomes steam. You also know boiling is a physical process. You also know chemical properties do not change during a physical process. Why the hell you cannot tell me that the chemical formula of steam is also therefore H2O? That is the trouble of our education system. We have memorized all the 4 facts which lead to this very simple answer. But we will not allow that to happen. And because no textbook writes the chemical formula of steam, no teacher teaches the chemical formula of steam, therefore student will not be able to apply it. And this happens all over. In higher education, I remember, I think time is running out, I remember in the PhD level, somebody wrote a thesis on botany, and as you know, in research we go of, as they say, you do a lot of research about something very, very small. So they wrote a thesis which was examined and all that. It was about the leaf of a tree. The student had worked 4 years on the leaf of a tree. And all beautiful graphs, charts, pie charts, this, that, what shades have the color of this, what are the size variations, what are the veins, and so on and so forth. Number of publications, yes. Viva, yes. Examiner said, okay, my dear student, you have qualified for your doctorate. Thank you, congratulations. But before we depart, can you tell me which was the tree to which this leaf belonged to? And the student did not know. That's our paradox in education. We are, instead of connecting to the ground, we are disconnecting from the ground. We are going more into a ritualistic process, which is okay to some extent, but which, if carried to the limits, kills the creativity. I'm using a very strong word, but I think subconsciously, over the decades, we have killed creativity and innovation by our designing the systems, if I use the word, and that is why I am not able to answer the question. When Britishers were suppressing us, so-called, we got 2 Nobel Prizes in literature as well as in science. After 75 years of independence, when all facilities were given to education, we don't have a single one. Somebody has to answer why. And the answer, according to me, is simple. Unless we empower the education at all levels, I don't think we'll encourage creativity and innovation. And I think aims of such gatherings, where the real educationists of the country gather together, is to discuss and debate very clearly as to when should we follow the rules, when should we be allowed to break the rules. Unless we do that, education will not deliver to the extent we should, and I think your brand building should find that out also at times. With this, I thank you very much for giving me this opportunity and wish all the very best and congratulate all the award winners. Unfortunately, I'll not be able to stay to find out who are the award winners, but whosoever they are, judiciously chosen by the jury, I congratulate them and thank you all once again. Thanks a lot.